Hey there, math enthusiasts. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Manny, and today we're going to be diving deep into the wonderful world of solving basic linear equations. Whether you're a seasoned math whiz or just starting with your mathematical journey, this video is here to make solving equations a breeze. But before we jump into it, if you haven't already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss out in any of our exciting math tutorials. All right, let's get started. So I've heard a lot of people complaining about how tough algebra is. While that might be true, part of that comes from obviously not knowing your basics. And in this video, that's what we're going to be doing, right? So let's start with the most basic equation you can find. So let's say, for example, we're given something like x plus 7 is equal to 10, right? And what they're basically obviously asking is for us to find the value of x. But how do we go about that? Back in the days when you were in grade 2 or 3 or whatever, what they used to do is they'd give you a small box and they say plus 7 is equals to 12, and they'd say filling the missing number, right? And obviously instinctually and from what you've learned throughout your whole life, you'd know that, okay, what value would I have to add with 7 in order for me to get 12? And that would be 5, right? Okay, so now as time goes, that kind of changes. We have a bit more complex numbers and it's just a lot. So we need a set of rules in order to be able to get that 5 or to solve the value of x. And in this case, the first rule that I want us to discuss is this. What do we do in this situation? So the first rule is whatever we do on the left side of the equation, we always have to do on the right side of the equation. So for example, we're given x plus 7 is equals to 12. What we're trying to do is to get x alone, or x by itself, right? So in order for us to do that, we just have to say x plus 7 minus 7, right? So as you can see on the left side, we just subtracted 7 from 7, right? If we subtract 7 from 7, that means on the right hand side, we also have to do the same thing. So we're going to have to subtract 7. And we know that these two will cancel out. And here we'll have x is equals to, and if you've done your math, you'll know that 12 minus 7 will give you 5, which is the same as the box, right? So that's the first rule. Whatever happens on the left always has to happen on the right. Okay, so now let's look at a different example. Let's say we're given something like 5 minus x is equal to 8, right? How do we solve this one? Still, we're trying to find the value of x, right? And the first rule is, obviously, we need to get rid of the 5. And to get rid of the 5, we need to say 5 subtract 5 minus x is equals to 8. And as you can see from the left hand side, we subtracted 5. We also have to subtract the 5 on the right hand side. These two will cancel from this side, and we have minus x is equal to, what's 8 minus 5? Okay, that's 3. Okay, so now we have minus x is equals to 3. Are we done? No. We're trying to solve the value of x. So if we have minus x, that means we need to find a way to get the value of x. And for us to be able to do that, we need to multiply x with negative 1. So that will be minus x is equals to minus 1 and 3 on the other side, right? So we multiply both sides by negative 1, and here we're going to get x is equals to, and we know that negative 1 multiplied by 3 will give us negative 3. So that will be our final answer. Okay, so now let's look at a bit more complex example. So let's say we're given something like 2x minus 8 is equal to 12, right? First step, we obviously have to get rid of the 8, right? And to get rid of the 8, we need to add 8. So we need to add 8 on the left side, and whatever we do on the left side, we also have to do on the right side. So we're going to have to add 8 here too, right? So these two will cancel. Now we have 2x is equals to 12 plus 8 will give us 20. And then from here, what do? We're trying to solve x, and we have 2x. So in order for us to get rid of the x, 2x, by the way, means 2 multiplied by x. So in order to get rid of the x, we need to use the opposite operator, which is division, right? So we're going to divide this side by 2. And as I said, whatever we do on the left-hand side, we always have to do on the right-hand side. So also here, we're going to have to divide that by 2. So 2 will cancel 2, and 20. 2 goes how many times into 20? It goes 10 times, and the value of x will be 10, right? So let's say, for example, you did all your steps and you feel like, oh man, I might have made a mistake somewhere. The best way for you to kind of validate your answer is to do what we call checking, right? So checking is to take the value that you found and substitute it back into your original equation to see if the equation balances. So for us, we'll say 2 multiplied by 10. So we're going to replace x by 10 minus 8 has to be equal to 12, right? And we know that 2 times 10 is 20, and 20 minus 8 is equals to 12. So 12 is equals to 12, and the equation balance. So that's one way to kind of validate if your answer is correct or not. Okay, so now what if we have something like x over 3 is equal to 6, right? So we say x over 3 is equals to 6. So now we have a fraction in this situation. So how do we get rid of the fraction? So there's a couple of ways in which you can kind of get rid of the fraction. You can multiply the left-hand side by the denominator and also multiply the right-hand side by the denominator. But preferably, what I like doing is I would rewrite the equation like this: 6 over 1, right? So in this case, I'm able to kind of cross multiply, because when we cross multiply, we need to have fractions on the left-hand side and obviously a fraction on the right-hand side. So now I know that if I cross multiply, I'll multiply x with 1, and that will give me x. And if I multiply 3 with 6, that will give me 18, right? So that's the value of x. And for us to be able to check if that's correct, we need to validate by substituting the value of 18 back into x. And if we do that, we're going to have 18 over 3 is equals to 6. And if you know your math, you'll know that 3 goes into 18 6 times, and that will be correct. Okay, so in the next example, we have something like this. We have 8 over x is equal to 4, right? So remember in the previous example, I did say that every single time I'm faced with a fraction, I like changing the number on the other side to be a fraction as well, right? And in many cases, it's just changing that number or writing that number over 1, right? So in this case, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say 8 over x is equal to 4 over 1. So I'm able to cross multiply. And in this case, if I multiply x with 4, I'm going to get, if I multiply x with 4, I'm going to get 4x. And obviously, if I multiply 8 with 1, I'm going to get 8. And in this case, obviously, I have 4x. I'm looking for x. And to get rid of that 4, I need to divide by 4. Divide this side by 4. And I know these two will cancel. I have x is equal to 2. So just get used to the concept of obviously changing whole numbers into fractions so that you're able to cross multiply. If the other method works for you, where you're probably going to take x and multiply it on both sides, that's still entirely fine. But you can get a situation where you have such a complex equation that will only make your equation way more complex. So try to get accustomed to the concept of cross multiplying in this situation. Okay, so in the last example, we're going to be summing everything up into one complex equation. So let's say now we're given something like, let me just get back to pen. Let's say we're given something like 4 over 3x is, oh sorry, not equal, minus 6 is equal to 3. A lot of people can be intimidated by something like this, but you just follow the regular steps that you normally follow. So the first thing is obviously to get rid of the 6, and to get rid of the 6 you need to add it on both sides. So you're going to see minus 6 plus 6 on the left hand side, and that's what we're going to do also on the right hand side, right? So now that we've added 6, we know that 6, these two will cancel. Here we have 4 over 3x remaining, and then on the other side we have 9. And as I said, preferably in this situation, write 9 as 9 over 1 so that you're able to cross multiply. And if I cross multiply here, I have 3x times 9, that will give me 27x, and 4 multiplied by 1 will give me 4, right? And for me to get rid of the 27, I need to divide both sides by 27, and that will lead me to x is equals to 4 over 27, right? I know that's an odd answer. If obviously you feel like the answer might not be correct, it's always great to get back to just checking by substituting the value of x back into the equation to see if it's correct. If you don't want to check doing that, following the necessary step, you just put it on your calculator and obviously you'll get your answer. But that's it for this video. In the next video, we're going to dive deep into solving equations, but we'll be talking about quadratic equations in that video. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, share with your friends, let them know about ASW tutors. And that's it on my side. Peace.